Hello friends, I am Misty. A few days ago, I told you how the world's greatest secret agency was founded. Today, we will see how agents are recruited into this agency and how they work. So, let's begin the story. The story begins in 1997, in a country in the Middle East. A team of Secret Service agents was on a mission there, and during the mission, they managed to capture a terrorist. Among them was an agent named Harry, who was trying to interrogate the terrorist. But another agent suddenly noticed that the terrorist had a grenade strapped to his body. Without hesitation, he quickly pushed his colleagues away and threw himself onto the terrorist to save them. This agent sacrificed his life to save his comrades. Harry was deeply grieved by the loss of his colleague. So, after completing the mission, he went to meet the family of the fallen agent. The agent's wife, Layla, and her young son Eggsy lived together. Harry apologized to Layla and informed her that her husband had sacrificed his life to save others. Layla was shocked upon hearing this because she had no idea that her husband worked for such a secret organization. Nonetheless, Harry, to honor the fallen agent, gave Layla a locket. He said, "There's a number engraved on the back of this locket. We cannot bring your husband back, but if you ever face any danger, call this number, and we will help you." But Layla kept asking for her husband back and refused to accept the medal. So, Harry left the medal in the hands of the agent's young son, Eggsy. The story then skips to 9 years later. In the snowy mountains of Argentina, an English university professor, who was a brilliant computer coder and artificial intelligence expert of his time, was kidnapped. To rescue him, an agent from the Kingsman agency once again arrived. With remarkable professionalism, the agent killed all the kidnappers and rescued the professor. But the mission wasn't over yet. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door of the room. As the Kingsman agent cautiously opened the door, a girl attacked from behind, splitting the agent into two with a deadly strike. Her name was Gally. As the door opened, we saw the movie's main villain, Valentine, who had orchestrated the professor's abduction. Meanwhile, we are introduced to the Kingsman agency's headquarters. The head of the agency, an elderly man named Arthur, was deeply concerned about the recent death of an agent. A holographic meeting was called to discuss the situation with the heads of Kingsman agencies across different countries. They agreed that a new agent was urgently needed to replace the one they had lost. Once the meeting ended, Harry, Arthur, and Merlin began investigating the professor's death. They suspected that the kidnappers had a significant plan since they targeted someone as important as the professor. However, they had no clue about the plan. Next, we are introduced to Eggsy, now an 18-year-old whose life had changed drastically. His mother had remarried, and his stepfather despised him. Unable to bear the turmoil at home, Eggsy went to a club with his friends to drink. But even there, his stepfather's younger brother, Adam, along with his gang, harassed him. They threw Eggsy out of the club. Before leaving, Eggsy stole Adam's car keys. He and his friends took the car for a reckless joyride, damaging it as much as possible. However, their chaotic driving drew the police's attention, and in an attempt to escape, Eggsy caused an accident. He was arrested and taken to the police station. While sitting there, he remembered the medal he had received as a child, with a number engraved on it. The number was a promise of help in times of need. Eggsy dialed the number and explained his situation. Within moments, the Kingsman agency intervened and got him released from police custody. Eggsy was astonished by this, but even more surprised when he met Agent Harry, who had come to see him. Although Eggsy didn't recognize Harry, the latter explained, "I got you out of jail, and the locket you're wearing was given to you by me." Hearing this, Eggsy was delighted. Later, the two went to a club and talked. Harry revealed that he and Eggsy's father used to work together. Before finishing their conversation, Adam and his gang arrived to disrupt them. He started yelling at Eggsy, saying, "You made a big mistake by wrecking my car. Today, no one can save you from me." Annoyed by this, Harry told them, "Listen, kids, just go back home. I'm having an important conversation with Eggsy. Don't disturb us here." But who listens? Adam and his gang dismissed Harry as an old man and started arguing with him. Seeing this, Harry lost his temper and, in no time, took them all down, calming the situation immediately. During this scuffle, Eggsy noticed some incredible high-tech gadgets that Harry had, leaving him amazed. Since Harry had to keep his identity a secret, he tried using a gadget to erase Eggsy's memory. However, Eggsy pleaded, "Please don't hurt me. I promise I won't tell anyone about you." Hearing this, Harry put a reassuring hand on his shoulder, wished him good luck, and left. After these events, Eggsy returned home, only to be severely beaten by his stepfather for attacking his brother. However, Harry, during his earlier meeting with Eggsy, had placed a microphone on Eggsy's clothes. This allowed him to hear all the abuse Eggsy was enduring. Harry hacked into the house's speaker system and warned Eggsy's stepfather, saying, "Let Eggsy go immediately, or I'll call the police on you." The man, terrified, released Eggsy, giving him the opportunity to escape the house. Eggsy then went to meet Harry at the Kingsman tailor's shop. As expected, Harry met him there and took him to a trial room. The entire room was actually a high-tech elevator. While descending, Harry started explaining the Kingsman agency to him. He said, "Your father and I work together in this agency. Our job is to protect the world while remaining completely hidden. No government or political party can influence us. And I've come to see you for a special reason. I want to make you a Kingsman agent." Hearing this, Eggsy became overjoyed. With nothing significant to do in his life, he eagerly agreed, especially after hearing about the powerful role he would have in the agency. Harry then took Eggsy with him in a capsule straight to the Kingsman headquarters, located far away from the city. Upon arrival, Eggsy was astounded to see hundreds of cars, aircraft, and various high-tech weapons. He could never have imagined that the Kingsman agency was this advanced. There, Eggsy met Merlin as well. Harry introduced him to 8 other young men and women who had also been brought there to be trained as agents. However, to become an agent, they would have to pass through several challenging tests. Only one of them could ultimately join the Kingsman agency. Meanwhile, Valentine was gathering information about the deceased Kingsman agent. He discovered that the agent wasn't associated with the CIA, FBI, KGB, or Mossad. They were baffled, unable to determine for whom this agent worked. On the first night, when Eggsy and the other candidates were fast asleep, their first test began. Their room was completely filled with water to see who could use their presence of mind to save themselves. In this test, only Eggsy managed to break the glass and save himself and the others. Unfortunately, one candidate lost their life in the process. Meanwhile, the professor who had been released by Valentine was shown to be leading a normal life. However, Kingsman agents remained suspicious of him. Thus, Harry set out to meet the professor. He interrogated the professor, asking who had kidnapped him, why they had done it, and why they had let him go. But the professor refused to answer anything. Frustrated, Harry pulled at the professor's ear, and just then, an explosion caused the professor's head to blow up, killing him instantly. Harry was also gravely injured in the explosion. Harry was rescued and taken to the Kingsman's specialized hospital for treatment. Meanwhile, the candidates were each given a dog to raise and care for. Valentine invited Sweden's president and princess to his residence. He shared his secret plan with the president, who agreed, while the princess opposed it. Consequently, Gally captured the princess. Despite the guards' efforts to save her, Gally used her incredible speed and skills to kill them and imprison the princess. By this time, Harry regained consciousness. Investigating the professor's exploded head, they discovered that the explosion was caused by a chip implanted behind his ear. Further investigation revealed that the chip had been manufactured by Valentine's company. Hearing Valentine's name, Eggsy commented, "Oh, he's such a great man. He's going to launch a SIM card soon, offering free lifetime internet and calls for everyone." Learning this, Harry decided to meet Valentine under the guise of donating to his company. He was determined to find out what plans Valentine was concocting. Meanwhile, the Kingsman agency planned a paragliding test for all the job candidates. Only those who could land at the correct location would advance to the next round. During this test, almost everyone failed, except for Eggsy, Roxy, and a boy named James, who managed to land correctly. That day, Harry went to meet Valentine but couldn't extract any significant information from him. However, through the camera attached to his glasses, he spotted a leaflet containing the address of a church. The next day, Valentine's SIM card was released, drawing massive crowds to his stores as millions of people rushed to get it for free. Later, another test was conducted for the candidates, where they had to impress a girl at a club. As expected, all three of them attempted to impress her. However, as soon as they drank, they all fell unconscious. When Eggsy regained consciousness, he found himself tied to a railway track. A man interrogated him about the Kingsman agency. Eggsy noticed a train approaching, but even then, he refused to disclose anything. After the train passed, it was revealed that Eggsy had cleverly moved under the track and survived. At that moment, Harry appeared and informed him that this was another test. In this test, Eggsy and Roxy passed, but James, out of fear, revealed everything about the agency. Impressed by Eggsy's performance, Harry took him to a secret chamber within Kingsman, filled with hundreds of high-tech weapons that no other army or agency in the world possessed. Subsequently, the agency's head, Arthur, summoned Eggsy. He asked Eggsy to kill the dog he had been raising. Despite his best efforts, Eggsy couldn't bring himself to do it. This, too, was a test, in which Eggsy failed. On the other hand, Roxy killed the dog, passed the final test, and became a skilled Kingsman agent. Hearing about Eggsy's dismissal, Harry was deeply saddened. He invited Eggsy to his house and revealed that there were no bullets in the gun that day. It had been an emotional test, which Eggsy had failed. In the middle of their conversation, Merlin called to inform them that Valentine was planning something at the church. However, they had no idea what it was. Thus, Harry prepared himself and headed to the church. At the church, Harry found a preacher delivering an inflammatory sermon to hundreds of people. Suddenly, a strange sound radiation began emanating from the phones of everyone present. Within moments, everyone became furious and violent. They started launching deadly attacks on one another. Under the influence of the radiation, Harry also lost control and, in a frenzy, killed almost everyone around him. Finally, when the radiation ceased, Harry found himself to be the only survivor in the church. Realizing what had happened, he understood that he had unknowingly killed numerous innocent people. Eggsy and Merlin witnessed this entire event through their computer screens. As Harry stepped out of the church, Valentine confronted him and immediately shot him dead. This left Merlin and Eggsy devastated, and they broke down in tears. So, Eggsy immediately met with Arthur and urged him to take swift action against Valentine. However, Arthur ignored his request and instead suggested he drink wine to mourn Harry's death. But Eggsy noticed something odd. Arthur had a scar behind his ear, just like Valentine's other recruits. Realizing Arthur had joined Valentine's side, Eggsy froze in shock. At that moment, Arthur revealed Valentine's true plan. Valentine wanted to eliminate global warming by drastically reducing the world's population. He had developed a special SIM card that could control people in almost every country. Using these phones, he would emit radiation that would turn people into violent maniacs. This would lead to mass chaos, with people killing each other and significantly reducing the population. To protect themselves, many of the world's wealthy individuals had obtained a special device from Valentine, which they implanted behind their ears. This device would shield them from the effects of the radiation. According to Valentine, once the population was reduced, the world would become a better place. After sharing this, Arthur offered Eggsy a glass of wine. However, the glass was poisoned. Eggsy realized this beforehand and switched the glasses. As a result, Arthur ended up drinking the poisoned wine and died. Eggsy then retrieved the chip from behind Arthur's ear and brought it to Merlin. Since they had no idea how many others within the agency were working with Valentine, They devised a 3-person mission. Eggsy told Roxy, "I will send you into space using a gas balloon. You'll need to fire a missile to destroy Valentine's satellite. Once the satellite is destroyed, his SIM cards will stop working for at least 1 or 2 hours. During that time, we will kill Valentine and put an end to this chaos." Additionally, Merlin found in Arthur's files that Valentine had built a secret safe haven for the wealthy individuals he wanted to protect. They would wait there while the chaos unfolded across the world. Once the population was halved, they would come out. Merlin forged all of Arthur's identification documents in Eggsy's name. Then, he and Eggsy planned to infiltrate Valentine's secret lair. Eggsy's objective was to hack Valentine's system. If they could do that, Valentine's game would be over. As planned, Roxy went to space, and Eggsy infiltrated Valentine's secret lair. There, he managed to hack Valentine's system and was about to transfer control to Merlin when James, the boy who had failed the Kingsman agent test, caught him. James exposed Eggsy's true identity to everyone. Upon learning this, Valentine reduced the countdown timer for his destruction plan to just 2 minutes. This meant that in 2 minutes, chaos and violence would erupt among the people of the world. Fortunately, by that time, Roxy successfully destroyed Valentine's satellite from space. As a result, even after the 2 minutes passed, no anarchy ensued on Earth. Eggsy, thinking he now had a couple of hours, quickly killed all the guards and returned to the plane. But then, Merlin informed him that there was no time to rest because Valentine was attempting to restore the signal through another satellite. If they didn't stop him immediately, no one could save the world. So, Eggsy quickly armed himself and set out to kill Valentine. He fought his way through the guards, taking them down one by one to reach Valentine. However, the overwhelming number of guards eventually cornered him. To escape, Eggsy came up with a plan. He told Merlin, "Valentine has implanted chips in the necks of all the people he wanted to save. Since these chips can be detonated, can you hack them and make them explode?" Merlin replied, "Yes, I can." According to the plan, Merlin hacked the chips and detonated them within moments. This resulted in the instantaneous deaths of millions of wealthy individuals and thousands of guards as their heads exploded. As soon as Eggsy was free, he noticed that the princess was being held captive in a room behind him. He promised her that he would return soon to rescue her. Meanwhile, Valentine and his guard Galley had not implanted chips in their necks, so they were still alive. Now, Valentine, enraged, quickly activated his plan using another satellite, triggering chaos worldwide. In an instant, people became crazed, attacking and killing one another. Within just a few minutes, millions of lives were lost across the globe. Determined to stop this, Eggsy rushed to kill Valentine. Eggsy then faced off against Galley, leading to a fierce battle between them. Galley used her sharp blade-like weapon attached to her foot to slash through everything. However, at one point, Eggsy managed to scratch her hand with his shoe, causing a deadly reaction from the poison. Galley succumbed to the poison and died on the spot. Eggsy then removed Galley's foot weapon and hurled it straight into Valentine's chest, killing him instantly. Finally, the chaos around the world came to an end. Eggsy returned to the princess to enjoy a moment of romance, while Merlin prepared for a new mission. With this, the story comes to an end. There's another part to this story. If you're interested, I'll explain it soon. For now, I'm signing off. Good night.